the 1980s, Jack Miami, a hotshot cop, was at his peak, until one day. This explosion is gonna make me look so cool. He was severely injured in this accident, crippling him for the next few years. But now he's jobless, and a crack addict. And he's gonna have some bad withdrawals, because he never expected his dealer to turn into a zombie. Now, he has to live in a world full of the living dead, with no crack. Will he zombify after a heroic last stand in which a zombie infects him? Or will he find a jackpot of crack, smoke it all, and become a zombie that way? Find out by watching this video. And if you end up enjoying it, you know what to do. My first attempt was very promising. At first, I found an upvotable leather jacket and an ambulance with a key nearby. The ambulance worked, and I began to pack crucial supplies so I could set up a base in a better location. This location ended up being McCoy Lumber. I soon began clearing the area of zombies who were not happy at my arrival. Eventually they became overwhelming, so I hopped in the ambulance and used a highly effective zombie killing method, which came at the cost of the ambulance. It turns out I hopped out on the wrong time and was mauled to death. Next attempt.
Dang, that looked good!
Attempt 2 wasn't too bad. I found a house to set up in and survived about a day. In the morning though, quite a few zombies came, and this led to a downward spiral. I ended up spending 7 hours running from zombies. I went through houses to try and use them, but more and more kept coming, and eventually I was bested. Next attempt.
This nigga really think he's Bruce Lee.
Attempt 3. Tried getting a car, died.
Hey, yo, the pizza here!
Attempt 4. Car got surrounded and I died. Attempt 5. I wasn't even trying anymore.
This is
Attempt 6. I killed myself, then I died. Guess what happened? Okay, comment what you think happened in this attempt, huh? No cheating. Well, you're actually wrong. I survived a pretty long time in this one. Well, relatively. On day 1, didn't really have a plan. I ran outside for a bit, but decided that I should stay indoors for a while. So I went around securing the starter house, closing all the curtains, blocking the front door, that kind of stuff. I then went about creating the ultimate gamer room. I started by moving the TV into my room, and then my fridge. I was also going to move the oven, but I didn't have the right skills. So what I did instead was cook all the perishable foods so that I could store them in the fridge upstairs. I then sat down to read a book, something Jack Miami hadn't done in years, and it wasn't long until it was the next day. Day 2 started with some epic exercises. Jack exercised until he was too tired and went to sleep, even though it was barely noon. After some time, he went outside to loot the neighbor's house. His muscles ached from his exercise. Food items were looted from the house, and Jack returned home. Jack did nothing for the rest of the evening and went to sleep. Once night fell, day 3, Jack woke up to watch Life and Living, to level up some of his skills crucial to survival in the apocalypse. He was anxious due to his tobacco withdrawal, but that's something he'll have to power through. He watched TV for much of the morning. By the time he went out to loot, it was already evening. There was a sizable horde nearby, so he'd have to avoid that in order to survive or something like that. In the first house he looted, he found nothing special. It was getting dark, and he couldn't loot anymore, so he went to sleep for the night. Day 4 started very much like day 2, with intense exercise. He foolishly went out to loot, being exhausted and tired from his exercise. But he decided to do some epic trolling towards the neighbors, and left their oven on to burn their house down. Epic prank. But when he tried returning home, he couldn't jump over the fence, due to his exhaustion. Kind of a stupid move, but yeah. So he tried waiting for his exhaustion to disappear, but it didn't. So he had to sneak past the horde to make it back home. Day 5. He checked on his ultimate prank, which was an ultimate fail. The house hadn't burned down as expected, so he went to the house, tore up some rags, which were then placed in the oven so that the house would finally burn down. Day 6 was a rather busy day. The house hadn't burned down yet, so, that plan was just abandoned. Jack then started a big loot run. The plan was to get a car. The first house's car was unlocked, but unfortunately it had no keys to start it. There was nothing of interest inside that house. The second house, however, also had a car, but it was locked, and I didn't fancy smashing the window of the car. Inside the house, however, was a shotgun and an M9 pistol, 2 very useful items. They'll come in handy, trust me. Once he was done looting the house, it was getting dark, and so he returned home. Day 7 carries on right where we left off as Jack didn't sleep, because he wasn't even tired. The goal was still to find a working car. A zombified policeman provided some extra shotgun rounds, and an ambulance with keys was found in the ignition. So of course it had no gas. Jack traveled far and wide, but no car was found. Day 8. Jack traveled to the far side of town, finding another locked car. He waited in some house until the fog cleared. Jack started to become very skilled at dispatching the undead, otherwise massive hordes. No match for it. Or so he thought. Little did Jack know, this would be his last day on Earth. Well, second last day. He seemingly became cocky, and underestimated some zombies.
Oh girl, it's you that I lie with as the atom bomb locks in. Oh girl, it's you. I watch TV with as the world caves in.
He wasn't killed then and there by them, but he was bitten, meaning he was infected, and would inevitably die within the next few days. Jack heard himself asking one question.
Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
He would not
Go quietly into the night,
He would not
vanish without a fight.
but he would sleep for the night. Day 9, Jack ate all his heart desired, his final meal, as it were. He soon readied himself, shouting and screaming for the zombies to come his way. His shotgun would only bring more.
Earth runs to the ground. Oh girl, it's you that I lie with as the atom bomb locks in. Oh girl, it's you. I watch TV with as the world